Hello friends, it's Alexis and Poe, and welcome to my Halloweekend reading vlog. Okay, we have a very busy weekend. It's already Friday that I'm filming this intro, and I have not started reading anything for the weekend yet, so I'm already anticipating extending this one into next week because I'm actually on vacation from work next week, so I will have a lot of time to read. And this weekend, tomorrow actually, is my annual Halloween party that I've thrown every year for the last 8 years, and it is just my favorite day of the entire year, but it is a lot of work to get ready for, so I don't anticipate having too much time to read. But I'm thinking while I am getting the house ready today, we have time for an audiobook. And then we'll also have Sunday after the party if I'm feeling up to reading. Usually the day after the party is just a rot on the couch, watch TV kind of day, but we'll see. And then if I do need extra time, we have next week. Now that we know the plan, it is time to roll and figure out what prompts we're getting this weekend to try and hunt this ghost. Roll number 1 is going to be a 3. All right, so this weekend, Onyx is heading in to the purple room. We left off in the green room down here. My goal every single weekend is to catch the ghost in the room, so let's head towards the ghost. We can either go for prompt 11 or 18. Okay, I have a good one if we go to 11. So let's go 1, 2, 3. Prompt number 11 is to read a book with 4 words in the title, or take a fall-themed picture. For our first book we're adding to the TBR, I'm going to go with Never Whistle at Night, which is stories edited by Shane Hawk and Theodore C. Van Alst Jr. This one is an Indigenous dark fiction anthology all about different creatures, mythologies, and reasons you should not whistle at night in the forest. You should not respond if you hear things calling you because bad things happen. This is one I've had on my shelf for a while now, and I am very excited to read it because a lot of authors I've read from in the past and enjoyed have stories in this collection. The introduction is by Stephen Graham Jones, who we all know I love. We also have stories from Tommy Orange, Morgan Talty, Darcy Little Badger. I haven't read anything by Tiffany Morris, but I do own one of her books. Yeah, I think this is going to be really good, and I have the audiobook, so I can throw it on while I'm cleaning up the house and decorating, and I'm really, really excited for it. And then, of course, the non-reading prompt to take a fall-themed picture. I'm going to count Halloween photos as being fall-themed, and with my party being this weekend, we always take photos of our costumes, me and Dan, and then I anticipate taking pictures with my friends at the party, so we'll already be checking off that. All right, for roll number 2, we are going to get a 4. Of course, when we're right next to the ghost, we get a high number. So I think I'm actually going to switch direction and go towards the equipment in this room, because that way I can ignore the overall theme of it being haunted. Because the book that I'm thinking of picking next, I don't know if it actually has to do with ghost stories and all that. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're gonna grab the ghost hunting equipment. The equipment prompt for the kitchen is to read a book that is shorter than your last book or share a spooky book rack. So if we are using this as our last book picked, this is almost 400 pages. It's 392, so we need something shorter than this, and I have the perfect thing. I'm gonna go with a short story collection that I picked up in the first Halloweekend vlog. I was at a local indie bookstore crawl, and there were a lot of self-published local authors, Mike Welch being one of them, and this is a collection of his horror stories called Turning of the Bones and Other Stories. It is 131 pages, and I'm excited for it. I really love horror short stories. Obviously, with this being the second anthology we are adding to the TBR. But yeah, I was really, really drawn to the cover of this one, and there are pictures I'm just now realizing. So I hope I like it. I'm not too sure what this one is about. The synopsis doesn't tell us much, other than some things just go well together, an immortal man and a pack of wolves, an ancient rock being and the friend zone, God and the devil, a necromancer, and dead people. I had to tilt the angle because I always sit on my feet when I film and then my feet fall asleep. So now I'm sitting cross-legged and that is more comfortable. But let's go ahead and do rule number 3. And we got a 3. So now we're gonna head right back the way we came, and I think it's actually gonna work out because we can hit the ghost in 3. So let's go 1, 2, 3, and get our ghost. The prompt for the ghost square is to read a book that you can spell ghost, G-H-O-S-T, on the cover, or eat/drink a fall-themed treat. Do blurbs count? I mean, it says on the cover. I'm using it. It's not even cheating. She said on the cover. Okay, so for a book that I can spell ghost on the cover, I'm so excited for this next one. This is like the book I wanted to get on the TBR for this weekend, and that is 13 Months Haunted by Jimmy Giuliano. This, of course, is the Book Troop book club pick for the month of August, for the month of October, and the Gabby Reads has asked me to be a part of the live show discussion. So I'm super, super excited, and I have to read this one this upcoming week anyways because the live show is on Thursday. So you will be watching this vlog after the live show. So to prove that this does have the word ghost, you have to get very, very close to the image here, but it says compact disc digital audio, and there's a G in digital. And then the rest of the letters are just in the title and the author's name. So G-H-O-S-T, ghost. I could also use the G in the blurb up here, but it makes me feel better that it's like in the art on the cover because I think that's really cool. So I feel like I've talked about this one in a few videos now, and I feel like everybody is reading it. This is a very highly anticipated book for a lot of people. So just a quick little overview of what this one is about. I know we were following a young girl. I believe she's a high school student because our narrator is actually a librarian. She's in 8th grade, so middle school, depending on where you went to school. For me, it was middle school. But yeah, she's kind of strange. It's the early 2000s, so computers and the internet are everywhere, and this student will not touch technology. She won't go anywhere near it. And stranger still, her mother comes to school with her and sits next to her, follows her to the bathroom, will not let her out of her sight the entire day. And there are rumors around the school that the mother is a witch. So I'm really excited for this one. I enjoyed this author's last book, Dead 11, but I had some pacing issues, so I'm hoping I will just love this one. It seems like it is shorter than Dead 11, so we'll see, but I'm so happy. I'm really, really excited to read this one and to talk to everybody about it, and yay, I'm just happy that we could get it on the TBR. 3 books is probably my limit for this very busy weekend, so now we're gonna head towards the door if we can. All right, rule number 4. Let's get a high number, please. A 6. Thank you. A 6 will get us to the door. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 will be entering our next room, and we'll stop at number 1 and let's see what our final prompt is. The space for prompt number 1 is to read a book for another challenge or wear something fall inspired. So right now I am going to lean towards the activity prompt because, like I mentioned, 3 books might be my limit for this weekend. If I finish all of these and I feel like adding another book on, I definitely have books that will fit for this. I could choose anything off of my horror bingo board, but the wearing something fall inspired is super easy. I literally have completed it right now. I'm wearing my Book Babe Designs pumpkin skeletons reading, so I think that's perfect. And I have purple skeleton earrings in. They're a little hard to see, but matches the shirt. I know this is more Halloween than fall themed, but they go hand in hand. And I think we have a really solid TBR for the rest of the weekend. So I am going to get started with Never Whistle at Night right now. I'm gonna throw in the audiobook and I am gonna start cleaning. with my first check-in. I am also in the middle of finishing my bookshelves. I started reorganizing these in a previous vlog, and then life was busier than I was expecting, which always happens. I seriously am so busy during the weekdays that I get nothing done. So now, with the party being tomorrow, and I want everything to look nice and not have books all over the place like they currently are, we're making good progress. I so far have the third shelf done, which I ended up moving my fantasy books up because I have so many of them. They need their entire shelf, just like horror does. And I'm moving my romance / other genres down lower because I have less of them. So right now I have sci-fi, romance, we'll probably do like contemporary, historical fiction, and I have to find space for all of my mysteries and thrillers. It's fine. I don't doubt that I can make them all fit. It just might not look as nice as I want it to. So that's what I've been doing while I have listened to the first 3 stories. So I'm here to talk to you about them. So first up, even though it wasn't a story, the foreword by Stephen Graham Jones, I really loved. I just love listening to this man talk. Even though he didn't narrate this, I enjoyed listening to his words coming through the pages. He told this story of this like encounter on an old country road with a spirit, and I really liked that his foreword was just all about these stories and how they connect us to the other within the world. So the way that the real world and the supernatural intersect, and opening your eyes to accept things that might not seem real. The first one I listened to was Kashtuka by Matilda Zeller, and this one has been my favorite so far out of the first 5. I gave this one 4 stars. It is the most like what I was expecting out of this. It had to do with this entity from Native American folklore and why you should not talk bad about them. So in this one, we are following a young Indigenous woman, and she is having to go work at the house of this white man who's in town, and he's like collecting all of her ancestors' artifacts. Like he literally has something her grandfather made and is like yelling at her not to touch it because it's his now. So on the drive over to his house, because she is going to be working a dinner party thing for him, he is badgering her and is telling her to tell him a scary story. So she doesn't really want to. They're driving down the road at night when you shouldn't be talking about these kinds of things, but she ends up telling him the story of the Kashtuka, and he does exactly what you shouldn't do and starts to make fun of this being, starts saying, "That's not scary. I could tell you a real scary story. What kind of stupid stuff is this?" Which obviously angers this spirit, and she comes to get revenge. And I really like that. I love a book full of bloody, gory revenge, and that's what we got from that first one. The second story was called White Hills, and it was by Rebecca Rowanhorse, who I can't believe I missed when reading the names on the back, because this is an author that I've read from and loved before. This story got a 3-star for me. It was good. I liked the ending of it more than the beginning. It had a slow start. It's about this woman who is an influencer. She married into this very rich family, and she kind of left her life behind. She hid that she is Indigenous from her husband. He finds out, and the family is not okay with this, and it is so fucked up, the things that they do. So I really liked the ending and how unhinged it got, and like just my jaw was on the ground not believing the lengths that this mother-in-law was going to and how disgusting she was being. But the beginning part was really slow to me, so that's why I stuck with a 3-star rating. Next up was Navajos Don't Wear Elk Teeth by Conley Lyons. I gave this 3.5. Same idea. It was a little bit of a slow start. It was a little confusing, but I liked the horror elements of it. I liked the unhinged ending, and it ended up being a fun one. After that, I had 2.5 stars in a row, which is still fine. There wasn't anything that I really disliked about these stories. It's just that there was nothing special about them to raise the rating. But I am very excited to keep moving on and to hopefully have these bookshelves done by the time I check in with you next. bookshelves are done. My hair is falling out and I am covered in dust. Oh my God, I was sneezing so much cat hair on these books, but they are finally all clean and organized. Can't see because of the chair, but even down there, organized. Everything has been rearranged and dusted, and I love them. And while doing that, I finished the next 5 stories in this thing. So let's see, where did we leave off? Hunger by Phoenix Boudre. This one I gave 3.5 stars. This one was fun. It was about a hungry spirit stalking a girl, and yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. I liked the twist. After that, I listened to Tick Talk, like tick as in the bug, and yep, that's what it was about. This was the grossest one so far. If you don't like bugs in horror, you're not gonna like this one. And well, I wouldn't say I enjoyed it because it was making my skin crawl a little bit. I did give it 4 stars because, I mean, it was effective horror. It was making me feel uncomfy and it was well written. After that, we had The Ones Who Killed Us by Brandon Hobson. I gave this one 2.5 stars, a lot like the ones I gave 2.5 stars earlier. I just didn't really understand this. It was just told in a different format. It was very short and it had to do with this spirit haunting the land. Like, I don't even know how to describe it to you because I was just listening to it like, am I gonna understand this? And then it was over. So then the standout star of the book so far, Snakes Are Born in the Dark by D.H. Trujillo. 5 stars. This one was also very, very gross, very unhinged, wild, but I really enjoyed it. If you don't like traumatic birthing scenes, don't read this story. But even with that, it was such an unhinged birth scene. It was so good. This one was following this man, his cousin, and the cousin's boyfriend as they were going on a hike in the desert, and they end up getting lost and some very, very strange things start happening. So that has been my favorite so far. That one felt longer than the others. It was only 20 pages, but it felt like we got a whole beginning, middle, and end. And then the one I just listened to, Before I Go by Norris Black, I'm gonna give that one 3 stars. I literally just finished it and I don't remember what it was about. So that is not a good sign. Okay, I did listen to this one. Not memorable, having just finished it. It was only 9 pages. I am going to keep listening. I'm going to try to get through at least 5 more before... Hello, good morning. I have to show you guys something. So it happened. Doesn't feel real, but also it does because it's been a very long time coming. Hello, I'm dog sitting my sister's dog, so he just wants to be in the video. So yeah, Dan finally proposed on Sunday. It has been a long time coming. We have been together for going on 11 years. So I don't want to say this was a surprise, but like the way he did it was a nice surprise. I don't know if anybody would be interested in like a whole separate like engagement wedding Q&A type video. I mean, I'm nosy, so I like watching them, but I also know you're here for bookish content. So let me know if you guys have a lot of questions in the comments. Maybe I could turn it into its own video, but just a quick little overview. Yes, I knew it was coming. He told me probably a week ahead of time because he knew that I wanted a little bit of a heads up. I wanted my nails done. I wanted to be wearing a nice outfit and have my hair done and everything. So I knew to expect it in the next week. I was actually expecting it to happen on Halloween. And then the day before it was supposed to happen, his dad accidentally spoiled it. So I knew exactly when and where it was going to happen. So on one hand, it was good for me because I don't like surprises. I like to be prepared. And obviously this is a big moment. I wanted everything to be perfect. On the other hand, it was a little sad that it ruined the surprise, and also it made my anxiety go absolutely through the roof. Like I'm talking full on panic attack right before it happened. I don't know why, because obviously I have no second thoughts about Dan. I was very excited for that, but it was just a big moment with a lot of emotions. So I did film a little bit from that day, but I was obviously very, very anxious. So I wasn't really feeling like talking face to face with you. I didn't feel like reading that day. So the first clip I took was me getting ready. This was a whole process. I could not figure out what to wear because I knew there were going to be pictures involved. I wanted it to be perfect. So this is me kind of freaking out. This is the outfit I decided to go with. I think it's cute. With the help of some of my close friends on Instagram, I had to have them help me pick what to wear. When I tell you, the anxiety was just completely messing with my brain. So then we went out to dinner, and this is me remembering that I should be like filming some clips from the weekend. So that's my dinner, and that's my old-fashioned that I really, really needed, because even with having a drink, I was still a complete mess. So yeah, dinner was fun, a little awkward. I think we both knew each other was nervous. Well, he'll say he wasn't nervous at all. He was doing a good job of trying to keep me not nervous, keep the conversation normal, but it was just very obvious. Like we knew something was coming after dinner. And then yeah, he very casually mentioned that the new Frankenstein movie was playing at this local independent theater we have in my city. So I think this place is really, really beautiful. It opened in the 1920s and it just has the most amazing architecture. And that's something about me. I really love a pretty old historic building. So like he knew this. We don't go there super often, but I have been there for movies before. It's fun. It's just you walk in and it's just one big movie theater. Like they only play one movie at once, and it's just really sweet and romantic there. So it is a popular place for proposals. So walking up, I at this point knew what to expect. My suspicions of what I heard had been confirmed at this point. Blue, what are you doing? What are you doing? Don't knock anything over, please. So we very casually, not suspecting anything at all, walked up to the movie theater, and there it was on the marquee. And I didn't know that my sister was hiding in a bush filming this. So enjoy that. So yeah, here we are today. The movie was incredible, 5 out of 5 stars, and I really love that like now Frankenstein has this like extra meaning to me. I already loved it, but like, I don't know, it's just like sweet now. It kind of feels like our movie, and it's a good thing that we both liked it. Like, can you imagine if the movie sucked? And then if you're interested in all about my ring, it is moissanite. I picked it out myself, sort of. I knew I wanted it from East West Gemco, and they have sort of like a design your own ring option. So I did it myself. I took all my notes and then I sent them to Dan probably like 2 or 3 years ago at this point. Like, I knew exactly what I wanted. I just told him what I wanted. I'm just kind of picky. I'm a perfectionist, and he recognizes that. It made it easy for him because he didn't have to stress out about getting me something I liked. And yeah, now I get my dream ring. So now that my big announcement is out of the way, we can get back to our regularly, why is that the hardest word to say? We can get back to the vlog. Made it to page 152, so almost halfway done. A little disappointed at myself that it is already after midnight. I really thought I was gonna get a lot farther in this, possibly finish it today, but I'm gonna take these off because I can barely hear myself, but I'm not going to bed yet. I'm going to try to stay up as late as I can to keep reading this because yeah, we gotta get this done for the live show tomorrow. I do not want to be rushing to finish it, so the more we can get done today, the better. But I wanted to come in and tell you my initial thoughts. I am really liking this. There's nothing about the book that is causing me to read it so slowly, because every time I am reading it, I'm in it, I'm interested, I want to keep going, I want to know what's going to happen next, but I'm just very distracted today. I keep picking up my phone and scrolling, and yeah, I'm just not in a reading mood, but I kind of have to be. So I have started tandem reading, listening to the audiobook while reading physically, and that has been helping. I really like the audiobook. There's a lot of cool sound effects, like dial-up noises between chapters, so it's just giving me the early 2000s internet vibes even more. The narrators are fine. It's keeping me more engaged with the story. In this one, it is a lot like we know from the synopsis. We are following our main character, Piper. She is a public librarian, and she works a lot with the school, so she gets to know a lot of the students, one of them being this new girl named Avery. And Avery is very unique because she is new to the school this year, and she has a teacher's aide that goes to her with every single class, except it's her mother. And it goes so far that her mother doesn't even let her out of her sight to like use the bathroom. Like, she is around Avery every second of every day. So a lot of the students and teachers find this very odd, and unfortunately for Avery, she has been subjected to a lot of bullying. So our main character, Piper, sees all of this happen. She can relate. She was also bullied when she was little, so she decides that she is going to try and befriend Avery. Avery and her mother end up going to the library one day. They talk about books. You know, she kind of offers to tutor her. And because Piper is the librarian, they are running a scary story writing contest for Halloween that Avery enters. And Avery's story that she writes is pretty spooky. It is not helping the rumors that are going around school that Avery used to live in a haunted house, and that's actually how her sister and father died. As the reader, we're still trying to figure out the details, but based on the rumors, her short story seems pretty convincing that a ghost or some sort of paranormal entity had something to do with it. And then things get even worse for Avery's and the mother's reputation when Avery's biggest bully at school ends up mysteriously dying. And suddenly a lot of people are pointing fingers at Avery and her mother, who everybody sort of believes might be a witch. That's where I'm at now. A lot more has happened, like a lot has happened in this 150 pages, but I don't really want to give too much away. I think it's been a lot of fun, very twisty. I feel like there's a lot of red herrings in this because I had a theory about what I thought was actually happening and like how the internet and technology was involved in the mysterious deaths. But it's already been put like on the page that this was an idea. So I feel like that can't be the reveal at the end if we already are suspecting it, like if you know what I mean. So I am really, really curious to see where it goes from here. I am really liking the early 2000s setting, the sort of creepiness of those like chain emails that we used to get, like where you had to forward an email to like 10 of your friends or you were going to die in 7 days. I feel like this is doing a really good job of sort of embodying that like creepiness of those emails. Like, I don't know, I could be completely wrong and it could have nothing to do with that, but I think having something like that in this story about the early 2000s when that was such a big thing could be really, really cool. And then other than that, I'm really enjoying the mixed media element of this. So in this story, along with the present day story from Piper's point of view, we are also getting snips of her online blog. She's sort of using it as a diary. We're also getting pages from Avery's diary. But Piper's blog is so fun and so interesting to read about. It's just really reminding me of like creepy horror books that start out as Reddit threads, but like make it fit into the early 2000s time frame that this takes place in. So she's like documenting all of her theories about Avery and all of the sort of creepy things that she's uncovering in her investigations, and people are like commenting their theories, and it's really fun to follow. So I am excited to uncover more. I was expecting to really dislike Avery's mother. Her name is Susan in this, but like I think she's a good mom. I am getting like no bad intent from her at all. Like I know the synopsis mentioned that there's rumors that she's a witch, but like I think she's a good guy. I think she's on Avery's side and she's just trying to protect her daughter. So we will just have to see what ends up happening. Good morning. It is time to finish this book. We have 1.5 hours until I'm doing live reading sprints on my channel. So ideally, I would like to finish this by then and then be able to move on to something else I have to do because there's a lot we have to get done. So I think it's possible. I have like exactly 1.5 hours left of the audiobook. I do have to get ready for the live show between now and then, so you know, we might cut it a little close. But I am absolutely finishing this first thing this morning before I do anything else besides make coffee, because I'm gonna need coffee. I was up quite late reading this and I'm still really, really enjoying it. I wish I could just tell you everything that's going on because I do think this is such a cool story, but I don't want to spoil anything, so I think you should just go into this one yourself. After we spoke last night, I did end up falling asleep on the couch for probably about an hour, but then I woke up and I was feeling pretty good, so I read for another hour, hour and a half, and it was getting quite creepy at that point. I was up late alone in the dark. Dan was sleeping and I was listening to the audiobook and I was getting a little freaked out. We definitely got to some pretty creepy scenes of things happening. And yeah, it's good. It's pretty rare that a horror book does actually scare me or even mildly freak me out, and this did that. So that's pretty good and definitely added to my enjoyment of it. Yeah, my camera battery is flashing. I want coffee, so I'm gonna go do that and get to reading, and I will talk to you when this thing is over. I'm currently on HALLOWEEKEND reading sprints, and I just finished 13 Months Haunted. Oh my god. Wow, that epilogue I think I love this book. I think this is a 5-star book. It was so much fun. It just like not the most unique idea, but I feel like it was really well executed. Like it took kind of inspiration from other classic, honestly, horror movies are what I'm thinking of. I really like the kind of horror movies where there is this invisible evil stalking the main character and they are constantly on the run. And this had such good parts of that. And then the ending was just so believable, like so stupid, like yelling at the book, like how can you be this dumb? But so believable because you cannot tell me that's not exactly what somebody would do in this situation. Not me. I wouldn't watch it to begin with, but I think this is a 5-star book. I'm so happy that I decided to give this author another chance after Dead 11. Like, I can definitely see his improvement. Not that Dead 11 was bad. I still enjoyed it, but it had pacing issues, like I've said before. I just found myself bored during it. I felt like it didn't need to be as long as it was. And this one, I felt like it was a good length. There was nothing that I personally would have cut. Nothing felt like it dragged. There was just good pacing, you know? There was the lulls between the scary scenes and then they were there when we needed them, when stuff started to get a little slow. Oh, I'm so excited to discuss it with Gabby and Elizabeth tonight. I'm also very nervous for the live show, but it makes me feel better that at least I love this book. And generally when I love a book, I have a lot to say about it. You know, how bad would it have been if it was a 3-star and I just came to the live show and I was like, yeah, it was fine. I have a little bit of prep work I have to do for the live show. Gabby sent over some questions for the discussion. So I want to just like brainstorm some ideas because I need to prep for this kind of stuff. I get anxious going live and I forget everything. Just all thoughts leave my head. So I want to just have some notes written down for if I start to feel that way. So I'm probably going to do that now while the book is fresh in my head. And then I'm planning on sprinting for a while today. It is technically now HALLOWEEKEND number 5. I'm not going to start my next vlog until this one's done. Obviously, I'm hoping to finish this one today before the live show, potentially. We have some books to catch up on. So as you know, I had to put a pause on this to prioritize 13 Months Haunted. So we will be going back to this now. I think I probably have about half of it left. My audiobook hold did lapse at my library though. So now I have to read it physically, but that's okay. So we're gonna be working on this and then also on Turning of the Bones and Other Stories, which thankfully it's not too long, so we should be able to knock both of these out today and wrap up this vlog. Me again. I am back for my long overdue review of Never Whistle at Night. Finally finished this one. I am struggling with a rating for this one, and I actually haven't even thought about it before hitting record because I feel like this was too long. I feel like there were too many stories included, and they were not all the same quality. Some of these 5-star stories. A lot of them 2.5 star. I was very bored, and that's why this took me so long to get through. I think like in total, I spent 2 weeks reading this. I do think there are good things about it. I think this is really, really great if you're looking to find new Indigenous authors to read from because there are a lot in here. And I think that there could also be a story for everybody in here. There are a lot of different stories in here, a lot of different topics covered. And I think while that was a problem for me, maybe other readers will appreciate such a wide array of stories. For me, going into this, I thought this was going to be a book about legends, folklore, different kind of cryptid creatures, reasons you don't whistle at night, stories about haunted forests and that kind of thing. And that's not what all of the stories in this were about. So maybe the problem is me. Maybe I needed to change my expectations a little bit, but really what this was just a anthology of different Indigenous authors' horror stories. They all had that theme of horror, but they did not all have to do with legends and folklore like I thought they would. So I'm not going to go through and talk to you about every single story. I really tried in the beginning, but when I got busy and when the stories started going down in quality, I just lost interest in doing that. I did still have some standouts I want to tell you about though. So we already talked about my favorite in the collection, so I won't go over it again, but I do think I'm sticking with Snakes Are Born in the Dark was my favorite, and I'm definitely going to be checking out this author, seeing if they have anything else I'd be interested in. So going through the other stories we did not talk about, I will put a graphic up so you can see my rating for all of the stories in case you're curious. But the standouts for me were Behind Colin's Eyes by Shane Hawk. I gave that 5 stars. Scariest Story Ever by Richard Van Camp, 5 stars. Human Eaters by Royce K. Youngwolf, 4 stars. Night Moves by Andrea L. Rogers, 4 stars. The Scientist's Horror Story, 4.5 stars by Darcy Little Badger. And Limbs by Wabishig Bryce, which I gave 4 stars. The standouts for me were actually authors that I mainly have read from before. So I kind of already knew going in that I liked their writing, but it was still nice to find a few other authors that I really enjoyed their writing, and I'm excited to pick up more from them. There were definitely a few stories that I would not recommend. Don't know if I will be seeking out those authors in the future. I mean, I'm always down to give somebody a second try, especially when it comes to short story collections. They are so hit or miss. Like, it's hard to write a good short story, in my opinion. I feel like full-length novels are usually more enjoyable, but there is one story I want to warn you guys about that I wish there had been trigger warnings for, because it's surprised me and made me feel really uncomfortable, and like those aren't even triggers I had, but it was so descriptive out of nowhere. And that is Sundays by David Haseka Wanbley Wyden. This one was all about Native American boarding schools, which we know from historical accounts were some really terrible places where humans were very mistreated. And this story dives into it. It starts out with a scene where a Catholic priest is sexually assaulting a young boy on page. Very descriptive, very uncomfortable to read about. And it goes on, the young boy ends up getting revenge, and the revenge is very sexual in nature too, and it made me very uncomfortable to read about. It was just not enjoyable at all, and I wish there had been trigger warnings going into it, because like I said, those are not triggers for me, and even I had a hard time reading it. So if you're planning on reading this collection, just take care of yourself. Know going in that this one is difficult. And for my final rating, I am going to go with 3.5 stars. I guess that feels right. When it comes to rating anthologies, I usually just take an average of all of my ratings of each individual story. That feels like the most fair way to rate them. So yeah, I feel like 3.5 worked, because there were definitely some stories in this that I really loved, and some that I really didn't and had a very hard time getting through. All right, it is finally time to move on to our last book. This has been the longest weekend vlog of my life, and I'm ready for it to be over. So we're gonna try and get through this thing all in one sitting. Hopefully it's possible. This is only 150-ish pages, 130 pages, even better. So yeah, really hopeful that we can just fly through this and close out this vlog. Well, I finished. I don't think I have anything nice to say. I mean, 1 or 2 of the stories was fine, I guess. Okay, if I had to pick a favorite, Tuesdays with Miranda Arth was maybe my favorite, but nothing in here was very original. I also didn't mind You Might Get It. That was just like a ripoff of Pet Sematary. And then all of the other stories were pretty boring. There were 3 connecting stories following Cassetnock, who is this like rock creature from another planet, but those stories were not horror. And even though they were kind of funny, because he's obviously an alien on a human planet, those stories also were just a little bit icky in the way that I felt like it was making fun of women. Yeah, so that's that. I am happy that it at least counted for this readathon and for my horror bingo. But I don't know about this one. Maybe it just wasn't for me, and maybe somebody else will like it a lot more. I'm trying to be nice because this is a self-published author and writing is extremely hard. I can't do it, so I don't do it. But yeah, I didn't really enjoy any of these, unfortunately. But that means we can finally close out this vlog. We have finally finished HALLOWEEKEND round 4. If you made it this far and would like to leave me an emoji to let me know you are here, I think let's go with the snake because I am staring at the cover of Never Whistle at Night and there's a snake on the cover. And please let me know if you have any favorite horror short story anthologies that you would like to recommend, because clearly I did not pick good ones in this video. But that is going to be all for now. So as always, I hope you read a good book today and I will see you soon in my next one. Bye.